When we consecrate ourselves to the Blessed Virgin, as we saw in the last class, we put at her disposal all that we are and have, whether in the order of nature or in the order of grace, body and soul, external goods, every kind of success that is in store for us, reserved, etc. We also give Him our interior and spiritual goods, and it is about them that we will talk about in the present class, considering not only the importance of the subject for the life of every consecrated person, but also the sad diffusion of certain Protestant ideas that, in one way or another, on the other hand, they came to obscure in the minds of not a few faithful the real nature of this class of goods. Saint Louis Marie Grignon de Montfort distinguishes in the treaty three types of spiritual goods, in correspondence with the value that our good work, that is, those done instead of grace, can be invested. This is what he calls meritorious, satisfactory, and finally impetitory value. Let's take a closer look at what each of these goods consists of. Merit, as the name implies, is a reality associated with the notion of justice, of retribution. We say, in effect, that something is meritorious insofar as it is worthy of reward. It is an action, defines St. Thomas, by virtue of which it becomes just to give something to the one who acts. It is evident that in the supernatural order there is nothing we can do out of our natural powers that will make us worthy of the glory of heaven. Eternal bliss, which is nothing more than the fruitive and joyful vision of God, is a good that infinitely surpasses and transcends our condition, and is not strictly due to any creature. It is, on the contrary, a free gift, which God gives to whomever He wills. Only Christ could perform works worthy of a reward, a wages, so to speak, like the joy of heaven, because He Himself was the divine Word incarnate. All His actions were the actions of a God-man, capable of a love worthy of such reward. We just need to be careful to remember that Christ did not deserve the beatific vision, which is what we commonly understand by heaven, for the simple reason that, due to the hypostatic union, he already had it from the first moment of his conception. This did not, however, prevent him from deserving his glorious resurrection, his admirable ascension into heaven, the glory of the body being at the right hand of the Father, the exaltation of his name, and the title of universal King and supreme Judge of the living and the dead. We, on the other hand, could only deserve it if he received the ability to do so, that is, if we were granted, before any merit of our own, the very special grace that we too deserve it. And this was one of the most precious gifts that Christ won for us by his redemptive sacrifice. Our merit, of course, cannot be compared with that of Jesus. His is infinite, universal, superabundant, of rigorous and strict justice. Ours is limited, imperfect, of merely proportional justice, conditioned moreover by the intensity of the love we put into our actions, so that the greater our charity in this life, the greater the reward awaiting us in heaven. To each one, says the Lord, according to his works. The satisfactory virtue, in turn, is closely related to the reality of purgatory. We know from the scriptures that only what is pure and holy can be admitted to the presence of God. Only he enters into heaven, in other words, who before he died loved him with all his heart, with all his intelligence, and with all his being. In the heavenly paradise there is no room for divided hearts or blemishes of any kind. Now, as this life is the only period of probation that we have, the only time that we are allowed to merit in the eyes of God, it is evident that those souls who, although they have not died in mortal sin, are not yet in a position to enter in the joy of their Lord, they need to be purified, and for this they rely on the prayers and penances that the faithful who still live in this world offer in suffrage. It would be an immense lack of charity to refuse to offer a little relief to the souls as blessed as they are suffering. It would be like refusing a painkiller that is within reach of a sick person in sharp and excruciating pain. The third and final spiritual asset listed by Saint Louis Maria is the so-called impetratory value, derived from the Latin verb impetro, which means to ask, to postulate, to beg. It is about the value that a good work has and with which we can, offering to God, either obtain a new grace or beg it for the benefit of others. We can make sacrifices, fast, pray rosaries and novenas, attend Holy Mass, practice all kinds of good works, and ask the Lord to deign to apply their value, for example, for the conversion of a soul, for perseverance, on the other for a particular intention, etc. All this constitutes a spiritual treasure that we can dispose of according to our will and that we wish to offer fully to the Virgin Mary. We will see in another opportunity how to live this surrender, what its consequences and advantages are.